Making money live betting, okay? That's what we're going to be discussing in this video. So live betting, which just means betting on games that are currently going on, is very different in many ways, and the strategies are very different compared to pre-match betting, right? Pre-match betting is just betting on games before they start. So in this video, I'm going to be going through the pros of live betting, the cons of live betting, some advice I have, and then we'll go through a few different strategies that you can implement to make more money sports betting when you're live betting on games that are going on. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. So there's two main pros of live betting, right? And the first pro is that there's often a lot better betting opportunities when you're betting on games that are currently going on, right? If you think about pre-match betting, so betting on games before they start, it's a lot easier for the sports books to keep their lines in check, make sure they're not screwing up big time. Whereas when games are going on and things are constantly moving, right? LeBron hits a three, everything has to move. His player prop lines have to move, the spread, the total, everything has to move. So while games are going on, oftentimes books slip up big time. So some of the best betting opportunities you'll find is often live in game, right? Like some of the best bets I've ever found are betting on fights in between rounds, right? UFC fights in between rounds, or betting on, NBA games at the end of quarters or during timeouts. That's oftentimes when you can find the biggest discrepancies. So that's the first pro of live betting, is oftentimes when you're live betting, you're going to see the biggest discrepancies, right? That's the first pro of live betting. Now, the second pro of live betting is it's oftentimes a great opportunity to hedge your pregame bets, right? So what I mean by that is, imagine the Lakers are playing the Rockets, right? And you have a big bet, right? Your big bet of the night is Lakers money line, right? So let's say the Lakers go on a run early. It's the first quarter. The Lakers are up 12 points. Well, now the Lakers are up 12 points. So oftentimes you'll be able to find a good spot to de-risk or even lock in a profit by betting on the Rockets money line, right? So a lot of times when you're live betting, you can de-risk, your pre-game wagers, and oftentimes even lock in a profit. So those are the two main pros, in my opinion, of live betting. When I'm betting live, typically it's because there's crazy good opportunities. I a lot of times, check for NFL, college football games at halftime. When it's halftime for the 1 p.m. slate, I'll check and I'll look for good opportunities, at halftime. Sometimes there's big discrepancies between books. And then the second reason is it's a good way to de-risk your existing positions, right? Maybe if I bet on a UFC fighter and he has a great first round, but the other fighter still looks pretty good, I can go and I can find some value on the fighter on a different sportsbook live after the first round. So those are the two main pros of live betting. Now let's get into some of the cons. So the pros of betting live are that there are often a lot better betting opportunities. So currently I'm on the OddsJam positive expected value tool, and you can see that there's a section for live in play games and then also pre-match games. So if we look at live games, currently the best betting opportunity is in the Warriors-Nuggets game, where you can get over 235.5 points at plus 140 odds on Hard Rock. This is plus 140 on Hard Rock. If you look at every other sports book, no other book is offering better than minus 118 odds. This is insane value that we were able to find on Hard Rock. I mean, they are screwing up big time. So if you can navigate the sports books quickly and get to Hard Rock quickly, or ideally you're already logged into Hard Rock Sportsbook, this is an insanely profitable bet, right? You can see the profit margin of this play is 24.26%. You'll almost never see that pregame. Sportsbooks don't screw up that big pregame. Only when games are, currently going on and things are flying around, it's a lot harder for the sportsbooks and their models and their traders to keep everything in check when games are going on, right? So you can see here there's an insanely profitable betting opportunity live. Whereas if we switch over to pre-match, the highest profit margin play right now, pre-match, is 1.24%, right? So 1.24% versus 24.26%. So again, if you can move quickly, you're literally day trading sports books while games are going on, so you have to be able to move quick. You're going to find insanely profitable bets compared to pre-match. So you'll often hear a lot of the best sports bettors say that they make most of their money when live betting, and that's not surprising. Again, that a lot of the pros, a lot of the sharp bettors make most of their money live betting because, again, that's when you're going to find the biggest line discrepancies and the most value. It's a lot harder for the sports books, their models, to keep everything in check while games are going on, where every play is moving around the odds. So that's the first pro of live betting. Now let's get into the cons. You can't have pros without cons, so here's the three main cons of live betting in my opinion. And the first con is that it's a frenzy. I mean, these lines are whipping around. Every change of possession in the NBA is moving around the odds, is moving around the total, the spread, player props. So when you're live betting, you have to be logged into your sports books if you want to get down great betting opportunities, and you have to know how to move extremely, extremely quickly. You got to know how to navigate the sports books. I mean, honestly, you should study how to navigate the sports books if you want to be a successful live bettor. So that's the first con of live betting. Everything moves extremely quickly. It's a frenzy. Right? Maybe there's value on the Lakers money line. You're trying to hit it. Then the other team steals the ball, goes down, hits a 3-pointer. Now there's no longer value on the Lakers money line. So you don't want that bet anymore. Right? So in live betting, everything moves quickly, and that's the first con. Now, the second con of live betting is that you'll oftentimes see a lot of people can't let their, they let their emotions get in the way. They start to bet with their heart and not their head. They'll be watching a game, right? And then they'll start degenerately live betting. Right? It's harder to stick to a plan. It's harder to maintain a plan and make sure you have an edge when you're live betting. And oftentimes, at least from what I've seen, when people are betting live, they're watching a game with their team, they start to bet, go off the rails. They don't follow bankroll management, and they start to bet with their emotions. And I say this all the time, but 99.9% of sports bettors lose money. Right? That's why the books are in business. And that's because 99.9% of sports bettors, they bet with their heart, they bet with their gut, they bet with their emotions. So when you're live betting, you have to stick to a plan. You have to make sure all your plays have an edge, and you can't let your emotions and watching, the game get in the way. Right? So that's kind of, the second con of live betting. And then the third con of live betting is most sports books are aware that they're not that good at setting lines while games are going on. Sports books know that it's a lot harder for them to set lines, manage lines, move things around, keep things in check with the market. So oftentimes you'll see when you're trying to place a bet live, sports books take more time to process the bet. Right? So you'll notice this pretty frequently is if you try to place a bet pregame, your wager will be instantly accepted. You won $1,000 on the Lakers. The sportsbook just takes that bet in half a second. In a split second, they take that bet. Whereas when you're trying to place bets live, you'll see a lot of sportsbooks, they have a processing button, right? Because they want to make sure before they accept their your bet that they're not screwing up. So sportsbooks add in a buffer where they won't, accept your wager immediately. So it's not like you can watch a game, the Lakers hit a 3, and then you bet on the Lakers money line and, capture value that the sportsbook doesn't know, right? Sportsbooks oftentimes take a lot more time. Sometimes it's a lot more time to accept a live bet as opposed to a pre-match wager. So those are the three cons of live betting. Is one, again, things move a lot faster. It's a frenzy. 2, you can't let your emotions get in the way, especially if you're watching the game. And then 3 is sportsbooks will oftentimes take a lot longer to process your bet because they're aware there's a lot more value live. There's a lot more times they screw up. So they'll kind of add in a buffer for themselves where they will take longer to accept your bet. So before we get into a few different strategies to make money live betting, I have one quick tip, right? And my one quick tip is oftentimes the best opportunities I find that stick around the longest, that don't move super quickly, is at breaks, right? So if you're looking to bet live, look during timeouts, look at halftime, at the end of quarters. I found a ton of profitable college football bets this past season looking for live opportunities at halftime. Right? NFL at halftime, in between quarters, at timeouts. That's when lines are a bit more stable, but there's still massive discrepancies in the odds that you can take advantage of as a sharp bettor. But anyways, let's flip over to my screen. Let's go through some of the different ways that you can make money live betting. So we can briefly cover the 3 main profitable betting strategies when you're looking for opportunities live, when you're looking for opportunities in games currently going on. So the first strategy is positive expected value betting, positive EV betting. So you can see right here, again, same example. There's a lot of opportunities live if you're able to navigate the sports books quickly and just find big discrepancies in the odds, right? Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that this play over 235 half in Warriors Nuggets is a profitable bet at plus 140, right? You literally have dozens of sports books, more than dozens of sports books, right? Like almost 50 sports books are all telling you that this line should be priced around minus 120, minus 125. You can get it at plus 140 on Hard Rock. That is no-brainer value, right? This is a play you absolutely need to be taking advantage of on Hard Rock if that's a book you use, right? And again, different states have different sports books. So depending on where you're located, you're going to see different opportunities. It looks like the two best, highest profit margin live betting opportunities are on Hard Rock, but then it switches over to Tipico, which is a sports book in New Jersey and Colorado. And you can kind of see, the more sports books you have, the more profitable live betting opportunities there will be. So again, you got to move really, really quick when you're live betting. My number one piece of advice is try to do it at halftime, in between quarters, at timeouts when the lines are a bit more stable. But you can see there's a ton of value when you are betting live. So the second strategy is right here. So it's arbitrage betting. Right? So arbitrage betting is kind of like EV betting, where you're taking advantage of inefficiencies in the market. But arbitrage betting is when you also hedge, right? So you can see right here, just as a simple example, you have an arbitrage opportunity between FanDuel and Unibet Live, where you can lock in a risk-free profit of 4%. So the pros of arbitrage betting are that it's risk-free money, right? You're hedging your live bet, you're betting on an over and an under, and due to massive differences in the sportsbook odds, you can make a risk-free profit, right? Here, in this case, if we're going to put 250 on FanDuel, our risk-free profit would be 47.47. So arbitrage betting, risk-free profits, the cons of it are that you have to move really quick, right? I really only recommend doing this at timeout breaks, in between quarters, at halftime, because again, everything is moving extremely quickly, and with arbitrage betting, you have to place bets on two sports books, right? In this case, we have to bet on FanDuel, we have to bet on Unibet to lock in our risk-free profit, and things are moving extremely quickly during the game, right? So when you're arbitrage betting, things move extremely quickly. You need to place two bets as opposed to just one bet when you're positive EV betting. So when we're EV betting, all we have to do is go to Hard Rock and try to get this bet down, right? If the line moves by the time we get there, no biggie. With arbitrage, you need to place two bets, right? So you really have to be quick. You got to know how to navigate these sports books. And then the final strategy is kind of like arbitrage betting. It requires you place bets on two sports books, but it's called middle betting, right? And OddsJam has a tool for that. You can see there's currently 6 live and play middle opportunities. And all a middle is right, betting on an over, betting on an under, or equal and opposite outcomes, where books have the lines set at different levels. So here we can see in the Warriors-Nuggets game, FanDuel has the line at 227.5, DraftKings has the line at 228.5. So there's a discrepancy in the odds, and if this middle, right, if there's exactly 228 points in this game, we'll win our over on FanDuel, we'll win our under on DraftKings if there's exactly 228. So that's called middle betting, right? And all of these strategies, you can also do pregame. Things stick around a lot longer when you're betting pregame, but these are the 3 strategies I've used, when betting live that I've had success with. But again, the main point you have to realize is everything is moving extremely quickly. It's a frenzy. So you really got to move quick, especially if you're middle betting or arbitrage betting, because again, you got to place bets on 2 sports books. So basically when I'm positive or when I'm live betting, I'm almost always positive EV betting. It's a lot easier, right? I have Hard Rock Sportsbook pulled up. I have the different sportsbook accounts I use pulled up, and all I'm doing is quickly logging into those sportsbooks, navigating to the proper market, in this case, total points on Hard Rock, and trying to get down my bet. So hopefully this video was helpful. Any questions you have, my email will be in the description. Let's make money.